Well, welcome back to the Sideline Podcast. Thomas West here. Today, we're going to take you through what was a memorable and historic day in the Canadian Baseball League.
And the first pitch in the new Pro League, the Canadian Baseball League, is a strike from Yordan Martinez to Yosvani Penalver. Yasiel Puig in his second at-bat in the Canadian Baseball League has gone yard. Dennis Demanding gets into this one, high and deep to left field, and it is gone! Dennis Demanding with a huge home run for the Maple Leafs.
So if you're new to the Canadian Baseball League, this was a league that converted from a semi-pro league to a pro league this season. The Canadian Baseball League was formerly the Intercounty Baseball League, and as thousands and thousands of fans piled into the hillside at Christie Pits, many of them were there just to see the opening of a new season, but there were a lot of new fans that came to the pits because of a big new signing by the Toronto Maple Leafs. That would be former Major League Baseball star Yasiel Puig, who is set to make his debut in a public park in Toronto in front of many fans that came to watch some free baseball. What a fantastic opportunity for the fans around the neighborhood of Christie Pits in Toronto. And let me tell you, expectations were high for everyone coming to watch Puig play, and he delivered. But before we get to that, let's get you set for this game. First, Dennis Bailey, who's the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs, on their big new signing.
So there have been very few GMs in the history of baseball that have had a chance to sign Yasiel Puig. What was that like for you when you had the opportunity to sign a player of his caliber?
I had to try and keep it cool, I'll be honest. I'm a fan too, right? I love baseball, so obviously that's why I'm here. And, when you get a guy that, did what he did in the big leagues and, now you get to bring him to Christie Pits, and all these fans, I'm looking around at this crowd and they get to watch a former big leaguer, former All-Star, and they're not paying anything, which is kind of cool.
Yes, a very cool phenomena for all the fans coming to watch Yasiel Puig play baseball. But lots of existing fans that were already fans of the Intercounty Baseball League for many years, and this was the opening day of the Canadian Baseball League, which was very exciting for everyone at Christie Pits. The Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the Kitchener Panthers. And this Toronto Maple Leafs team had quite a bit of turnover, with the league converting from a semi-pro league to a pro league. It meant that there were roster rules and a lot of things that meant a ton of change throughout all 9 teams in the Intercounty Baseball League and now Canadian Baseball League's rosters. But one player that stayed the same, who's been a stalwart in the Maple Leafs lineup, is Marcus Knecht, former third-round draft pick of the Toronto Blue Jays, but since 2018, he has been a big part of this Toronto Maple Leafs lineup, and many see him as one of the big leaders in the locker room this year for Toronto. I spoke to him before the game.
All right, joined now by Marcus Knecht. Marcus, I know it's always exciting just getting started with a new season. You're in a pro league now, playing for the Maple Leafs again. How are you just feeling to get this season started?
Yeah, we've been talking about it since the day the season stopped last year. So I know every time the season finishes, you wish you could keep playing for another month, 2 months. But it's back now, and we're ready to make it to the finish.
Marcus, I know you're a bit of a leader on this team, right? A lot of guys are seeing you as the veteran in the locker room. I know you're going to talk to everyone with a little pregame speech before the game today as well. What's just kind of the message to the team and, what you guys want to get out of this season?
Yeah, it's a good question, man. We got a lot of new guys, new faces, a couple old faces, and we got a good balanced crew, and just make sure that everyone knows that they can do their job and not to be too tight. They all got a job to do. They all can do it, and that's why they're here. So just give them that confidence, that boost, and show a little enthusiasm and tell them to play their game.
Is there some optimism that this team could get something done this year?
Oh, definitely, yeah. A lot of optimism. It comes down to the pitchers here in this league, and then timely hitting, and definitely situational hitting, and then the brain, the old brains of baseball. If we got a couple of those on our team, which we do, that's what helps us maybe win the whole thing. So, I think we got what it takes, and we're ready to surprise the league for sure.
Marcus Knecht was batting second in the Toronto Maple Leafs lineup on opening day. right in front of Maple Leaf star Yasiel Puig. And the guy hitting right behind him, giving him some lineup protection, was Dennis Debanning, who hit a home run in his first game last year on opening day, which also happened to be against the Kitchener Panthers, and was looking to have an impact again here today.
Yeah, I mean, last year, whatever happened, it is what it is. Like this year, it's a new season, new opportunity, and I think the biggest thing for me is just trying to stay consistent, like do whatever it takes to help my team win.
Dennis, I know I talked to you last year, and being from the Toronto area, playing for Toronto was something that was really special. But now you're playing for Toronto, and you're a pro baseball player playing for Toronto. Like, how does that sound to you?
Oh man, I mean, I got to get used to it for sure. I remember just talking about it with my mom, and she's just like, "Hey, you got to be proud of yourself. Like, it's been a long journey, so just kind of embrace where I'm at right now and just keep going, man."
I know you've got lots of new teammates. I know the buzz right now is about Yasiel Puig. I saw you chatting with him. Just, kind of having him as a teammate and kind of someone of his caliber. Like, what is that like for someone like you?
Oh man, it's crazy because I remember just playing MLB The Show like almost 10 years ago, 2015. He was like the cover of it, and now we're teammates. But I mean, he's definitely someone you can learn a lot from, and I'm definitely gonna pick his brain a lot this year. And whatever he shows me to help me play better and help us win, not just me, for the other guys on the team, and couldn't be more grateful.
So you got off to a hot start last year with that home run. I was just watching you take your BP. I don't know if you saw, but like first or second swing you took went over the fence.
Yeah.
The Pits is playing small out there and left today, and just how good are you feeling just to start this season?
You know what? I'm not really trying to think about that. Everyone knows about the Pits, and but you know what? I just try to. So the big key thing for me this year, I've been working with Knecht a lot. Just kind of just stay loose in the box. Just kind of let everything just flow, and not try to be too big or be too tight, and just kind of be at a flow state. So that's my goal this year, man.
All right, Dennis. Thank
you.
You.
You're welcome.
Well, the Canadian Baseball League got underway with a first pitch strike from Yordan Martinez, the former Kitchener Panther who was starting on opening day for the Toronto Maple Leafs. He was being opposed by Owen McNeil on the side of Kitchener. Let's take you to the second inning now, and a little bit of messy defense on the side of the Toronto Maple Leafs allowed the Kitchener Panthers to get the first run of the game, but some damage suppression by the Toronto Maple Leafs and Yordan Martinez as well. Ibarra fakes like he's going to go. Now this ball hit on the ground. Ross has it, throws to first, and it's in the dirt. It gets away. Matt Brandt backing up. Now it kicks off the facing of the dugout to Yordan Manduley. First and third for the Kitchener Panthers. An error on the infield. That was going to be a close play at first base, and Zach, it looked like Spencer Ross may have just rushed the throw.
Yeah, hustling out of the box there was Fujie, and then when you look at Ross, he picked up the ball, he looked up, and you see he's almost at the base, so you rush everything. At a play like that, it might just be better to accept the infield single like that with how much hustle he has instead of having the runner in scoring position right now.
Williams with tremendous power, the first baseman today. And now he hits this one on the ground. Manduley has it, flips to second for one. Spencer Ross on to first, double play. The Kitchener Panthers will cash in the first run of the ball game, but the Maple Leafs get two big outs. So the Maple Leafs did allow one run in the top of the second inning, but the bottom of the order came through for the Maple Leafs in the bottom half. And when you're at the bottom of the Maple Leafs order and you see Yasiel Puig looming on the dugout, the goal is obviously to get on base. They did that and set the table for Puig in the second. Now it's Spencer Ross, who's been playing for the University of Toronto Varsity Blues. Won a championship. It was U of T's third consecutive championship. All of them had Spencer Ross on it. He's been a huge part of that team. He's been a huge part of the Maple Leafs as well, and he dishes one into the outfield for a base hit. Spencer Ross is aboard. He was a mainstay in the Toronto Maple Leafs lineup last season, and he's got the first hit for Toronto. They were looking at some options, and Matt Brandt was the guy they ended up going with, and he hits one in the air. This one's hooking towards the line, and it's down, a fair ball. Matt Brandt with a base hit, and the speedy Spencer Ross is going to head to third base. Great start for Brandt and the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they've got runners on the corners with one out here in the second. Full count. And this one's lined into the outfield and caught. Spencer Ross tagging. Here's the throw to the plate. It's
on the money, but late, and it kicks away. The Maple Leafs tie the ball game. Matt Brandt will scamper into second base, and we're tied at Christie Pits here in the second.
Good piece of hitting right there by Fabian. All you got to do is just get the ball in the air and get it to the outfield. It's exactly what he does. He drives in that tying run.
Owen McNeil looking for the strikeout of the Maple Leaf star. The 2-2. This one's hit in the air towards left field. It's got some carry. Back to the wall. And it is gone! Yasiel Puig in his second at-bat in the Canadian Baseball League has gone yard. And Christie Pits was not able to contain this one.
Crowd is absolutely loving it, and look at it again. It's just such an easy swing that he has. He was underneath it. The wind, we talked about it, blowing right to left. That ball got up in the jet stream, and it just kept carrying. Puig, he puts the Leafs on top.
You know what? Yasiel Puig popped that one up. He completely missed it, but he is just so strong, and this park is not very far out to left field, that he was able to push that ball over the wall.
Now, I was talking to my broadcast partner, Zach Benoit, about this, and there's got to be some pressure on Yasiel Puig, right? I mean, everyone expects him to hit a home run every time he comes to the plate. And Puig was able to kind of take those expectations, turn them into motivation, and muscle that ball over the fence. So just to give you a bit of a visual on that home run, that ball was skied straight in the air. And I will admit, the wind was blowing pretty hard out to left field where that ball left off the bat of Yasiel Puig. But even though that ball was hit straight up, and maybe if the wind was blowing a different direction, it wouldn't have gone out, everyone at Christie Pits saw the pure power of Yasiel Puig, because there was nobody else who would hit a ball with that kind of launch angle that would actually find its way over the fence. Yasiel Puig may be the only player in the league that's able to hit a home run exactly like that. And boy, what a big swing it was, giving the Toronto Maple Leafs a 4-1 lead and all the momentum in this game. But the Kitchener Panthers were undeterred. Yosuke Fujie and Trent Lawson both had big swings in the fourth and fifth inning to bring it back within one.
Here's the 1-1. Hit in the air. Wind has a hold of it. Marcus Knecht back towards the wall, off the top of the fence. Fujie is going to cruise into second base with an RBI double, and it's 4-2.
Yeah, you mentioned it, the wind had it, and it just kept on carrying. Hits right off that banner on the left field, and it's just that ball, you can kind of see the tail that it had. It was tailing away from Knecht. He was running straight back. He looked up again, and it was tailing towards his left, so he had to adjust his route.
The 2-2. This one's hit in the air, up into the jet stream. Marcus Knecht going back, and it is gone. Trent Lawson with a solo home run to lead off the fifth inning, and Kitchener's within one.
That was a booming shot off the bat of Lawson. I mean, to the deepest part of the park here, which again, is fairly not that deep, but he got every stitch of that, hitting what looked like to be the skate park right behind that left center field wall.
What an answer by the Kitchener Panthers. Game now 4-3 in the fifth. Well, Yasiel Puig in his next at-bat after hitting the 3-run home run, the first in CBL history, had an answer.
Here's the 2-1 to Puig. And he hits one in the air, and this time there's no doubt about it. Second home run of the game for Yasiel Puig, who's already raining havoc on the Canadian Baseball League. 3 plate appearances, 2 home runs.
Just ridiculous stuff out of number 66. I mean, again, it's another easy swing, and this time it's a lefty he's facing. That looked like an off-speed that just kind of kept tailing over the plate. He saw it in his wheelhouse, and he just turned and burned it. Wow.
Did you think that this is how this was going to start?
I was not expecting 2 home runs in back-to-back plate appearances.
What a ridiculous way for Yasiel Puig to start his Canadian Baseball League career. And I will say, Puig's final line after this game was all said and done: 2 for 2, 2 home runs, 2 walks, 4 RBIs. Let's take you to the top of the 7th inning now. A 6-3 lead for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and Kitchener got some traffic on the base paths.
Threw 6 balls in a row, now comes back to make it 2-2. And this one lined up the middle for a base hit. And Malik Williams gets the stop sign. Manduley cuts it off. Bases loaded for Kitchener here. This is the moment in the ballgame where they need to cash in. 1 out in the inning, and Alvarado just trying to get through it. We saw Ryan Campiano warming up in the bullpen for the Maple Leafs, and I almost wonder if they consider going to him pretty soon. I was having a conversation with Rob Butler, and I think, yeah, he's just made the call down to the bullpen. So we'll take a quick break. New pitcher coming in for the Maple Leafs when we come back. Big breath, and now the pitch upstairs, ball 4, and the Leafs will walk in back-to-back runs, and it's 6-5. Here's the 0-2 from Capuano. Swing and a miss, strike 3. That's a big punch-out from the new Maple Leafs pitcher, and there's 2 away. 3-1 pitch on a line to third, and it's caught. Maple Leafs will hang on to the lead. Nice grab by Matt Fabian at third base. Toronto leading 6-5 as we head to the bottom of the 7th.
Panthers catcher Yunior Ibarra hit that ball hard, but some quick hands from Maple Leafs' new acquisition at third base, Matt Fabian, was able to record the out. And that swing, had it not been caught by Fabian, really could have changed things in this game. That is, if it wasn't for Dennis DeBanning in the bottom half of the 7th.
Here's the 0-1. Dennis DeBanning gets into this one. High and deep to left field, and it is gone! Dennis DeBanning with a huge home run for the Maple Leafs. It's 8-5. And he's right on Yasiel Puig's tail as he rounds the bases.
Yeah, Dennis DeBanning, we've talked about how much pop that this young man has, and he just displayed it right there, lifting it absolutely over that left field wall. And he is amped.
Oh, he's firing up the crowd here at Christie Pits. Listen, Dennis DeBanning came in. He was the first batter to take BP here today. First pitch he saw, hit it over the wall in left field. Like, not very often do you see a batter on their very first swing of the day hit one over the fence. And, you know, just watching him in BP, he had a crazy round, hit like 10 of them out of the ballpark. He has easy power. He doesn't need to swing as hard as he can. The ball will go here at Christie Pits, and he was able to muscle that one over the wall and left.
An 8-5 lead for the Toronto Maple Leafs heading to the top of the 8th inning. But this pesky Kitchener Panthers team would just not go away on the first game of the CBL.
This ball lined to center field, and it's over the head of Dennis DeBanning. This will score 1 run. DeBanning picks it up near the warning track. 1 comes in to score. It's an RBI double for Yosvani Penalver, and it's an 8-6 ball game with 2 in scoring position. And Rob Butler is coming out to the mound.
So with 2 outs in the 8th inning and the tying run on second base, the Toronto Maple Leafs turn to their two-way player, Kyle Poapst, to come in and try and get a 4-out save. How about that? And this would end up being a pretty crazy day for Kyle Poapst. Started out the game with 2 singles. Great start to his Canadian Baseball League debut at the plate. And now his two-way status was being tested as he came in to try and pick up the save for the Maple Leafs. First priority, get the out in the 8th inning.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Matt Brandt will have to complete the throw down to first base. He does. And Kyle Poapst comes in, gets a huge punch out, and his first action on the mound as a Toronto Maple Leaf. Another 0-2. Ibarra hits one on the ground. Ross has it, flips to Manduley. On to first, double play! In his Maple Leafs debut. The 0-2 pitch. Check swing. Did he go? Yes, Matt Brandt's got to find the ball. Now throws it down to first base, and that'll do it. A save for Kyle Poapst. The Maple Leafs win 8-6 on the first day of the Canadian Baseball League.
And that was it. The first game in Canadian Baseball League history in the books. Kyle Poapst was fantastic in his 4-out save. The Maple Leafs lineup came up with 8 runs on 10 hits, and the 2 big swings that pretty much won the game for the Maple Leafs came off the bat of Yasiel Puig. I had a chance to catch up with both Yasiel Puig and Kyle Poapst after the game.
I joined now by Yasiel Puig. Yasiel, I mean, just to hit 2 home runs in your first game with the Maple Leafs, like how good did that feel?
No, I only try to do the best I can for this team, to give me the opportunity to play in Canada. And I find out 2 good pitches to hit, and I make in contact, and the ball get out from the park. I still have a little power.
Yasiel, I mean, just playing here in Canada in the Canadian Baseball League, like, what does this opportunity kind of mean to you?
No, I always have fun, and appreciate to all the leagues and all countries that give me the opportunity to play. And now Canada giving the opportunity to play, and I'm so excited to play here. And I go in and I try to do the best every day when we have a game, to win the most game that we can and bring the team to the playoff. And later when we in the playoff, do everything together again to win the championship. I love to come to countries and win the championship. That's my goal in this team right now.
You're obviously an esteemed veteran. You're playing with a bunch of young players and a bunch of guys who have faced to the bigs. What kind of leadership do you bring to this club?
Not yet. Everybody's doing an amazing game today, and days to days, I'm going to be talking to the guys and helping the guys the more I can. And everybody, all team is treating me so good, and I'm so excited. And so thank you for the team and for all players give me the amazing work on here in Toronto in this team. All right, thanks.
All right, joined now by Kyle Poapst. Kyle, just to be here with the Toronto Maple Leafs, get a save in your first game as a pitcher on the mound. Can you kind of just walk me through that feeling that you had when you got that final out?
I mean, euphoric, man. Like it's a beautiful day for baseball. Rain held off and tons of fans out. So just excited to help my team win and to get the ball in a spot like that. I mean, that's what you dream of, right? Feel like a kid playing in this park again. So great day.
There were a lot of fans out to watch you play. I mean, you had the 2 home runs by Yasiel Puig. You had Devanning get one as well. Like, how just kind of exciting was this for you, just with the big name players and just being here on the first day?
I mean, yeah, like when I said, feeling like a kid playing ball, watching, Yasiel Puig, and it's, not on TV, it's not on a video game. It's, you're on deck next. Dennis almost took my arm off. I think he was pretty psyched after he came home on that second one, which was in my head a bit as I had to pitch. But no, man, it's exciting.
Just to get a win an opening day, like you never know what the team's going to be like until you actually get to the field and play. Like, how exciting is this for you, and does this team feel like, it could kind of be something after today?
Yeah, I mean, I think we got a ton of great guys. I think we got good depth. I feel blessed to be here, playing in Toronto. Yeah, it's. I think we got ranked pretty low on a couple of the preseason stuff, but we can always use that as motivation, and you never really know, especially first year of the CBL. I think it's going to shake a lot of things up.
So you're a two-way player. You started this game in the DH spot, and then you end up being on the mound. Like, what's that like for you being a DH and then coming into the game to pitch? And is this something that's kind of familiar to you?
It's pretty new to me. I didn't hit in college. Coach Hubka at PBA kind of tried to convince me, and I told him I was too slow. That was on display today as I got hosed twice on the bags. But no, I went to Austria and played with the Wiener Neustadt Diving Ducks, and I got to hit a little bit there. And then my wife, Jana, she's a hitting instructor, so she taught me how to hit before we went to Australia. And yeah, I had a lot of success over there, so I told him I just want a chance to hit here. And I think people at home still don't quite believe it, but yeah, it was a lot of fun.
You came out of the pen in a pretty big situation, close game. How do you kind of deal with the nerves in a situation like that?
Breath work, and that's all day. That's at the plate, and that's especially on a mound. I like to 4 seconds in, 4 second hold, and 4 second release. And if I'm there, I keep my heart rate down. I find that I have a lot more success and able to execute in those spots.
Since you've started hitting recently, how has your conditioning process changed?
It's honestly not a lot. I mean, baseball is very, anaerobic. So, I started running a little bit more in Australia, but it's more, I think, right back to that breathwork part of it. Yeah, taking care of my body a little more. I mean, I got to get my knee patched up now. It's a whole new thing. I don't consider, you hear a guy on the other team's throwing hard. As a pitcher, it's pretty cool. You realize you got to hit against that. You get a little nervous.
Coming off a win on opening day, what kind of things do you guys want to keep bringing into the rest of the season that you thought were working well today?
I think just playing loose, having good energy, and keeping a good approach at the plate and trying to fill it up on the mound.
Thank you so much.
Oh, can I say, Happy Mother's Day to my mom Kim, my dad Bob watching. Thank you for everything growing up, and I wouldn't be here without you.
All right, thanks, Kyle.
Sweet.
Thank you so much.
All right, great to chat with both of them after the game. An opening day win for the Maple Leafs. And if you're interested in what's going on with this Maple Leafs team and the Canadian Baseball League all season long, you can stay right here on the Sideline Podcast. Will the Maple Leafs find themselves in a playoff position at the end of the year? Will anyone be able to get Yasiel Puig out? We'll have all that for you throughout the season here on the Sideline Podcast.